Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I wanted to really talk about some of the latest updates surrounding two quarterback options for the New York Jets. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers, who was just on a podcast where he talked about the darkness retreat and of course his future in football. And to make a long story short, he doesn't have a decision. He's still up in the air about his future. Retirement's on the table. Playing for a new team is still on the table. Returning to Green Bay is still on the table. And, although Rodgers did say he's going to make a decision soon enough, he doesn't want to drag this thing out, kind of like Brett Favre did, all those years ago with Green Bay and ended up getting traded to the Jets. It's still, and I guess if you want to talk about like progress, it's technically closer to the start of free agency. And from the sound of, reporters, from the sound of like what he's saying, from what we're hearing from Packers GM Ryan Tannehill, who we'll talk about in just a second, it really does seem like a solution will be figured out before March 13th when legal tampering period starts. But up until then, we're still in the waiting game. Right, we're still waiting around trying to figure out what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, what he is going to do. So many questions left unanswered, right? And if you're the New York Jets, a team that's been totally, I don't want to say public about Aaron Rodgers because, the whole tampering thing, but I think it was Tom Pelissero weeks ago, or it could have actually been Jeff Darlington from ESPN, who it was during the week of the Senior Bowl. He said that the worst kept secret in the NFL is the Jets essentially loving Aaron Rodgers, right? He's the team's number one option. They're going to do whatever it takes to land him. They want Aaron Rodgers desperately over everybody. So, on one hand, the Jets are, again, kind of like, I feel like the Jets are like handcuffing themselves to Aaron Rodgers, but on the flip side, they also have the key to unlock themselves. Like, I feel like at any point the Jets can just pivot and move on to other options if they're getting cold feet about Rodgers, if they think he's going to stay, and what's the point of sticking it out, waiting around for Aaron if he's going to stick with the Green Bay Packers. Like, you might as well take the mental energy, might as well take the resources and pivot and try to figure out other plans elsewhere. That's kind of my thinking right now. And we take a look at some of the comments that, again, Packers GM Ryan Tannehill said yesterday at the NFL Combine. Okay, so he said that Aaron Rodgers has not told Green Bay what he wants to do. His plans are still up in the air. Tannehill hasn't spoken to Aaron Rodgers at length since the end of the season. They've just texted. And he also said, until we have those conversations, I think all options are on the table right now. He also said that he feels comfortable with Jordan Love as the starting quarterback of the team. We had Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network come out that same day and say that the longer that this goes on, the chances of him staying in Green Bay are essentially higher. It seems more likely the longer that this drags out. So I think when we take a big picture, macro perspective look on it, and we're again looking at the Jets here and saying, what's the biggest problem? What is issue number one that this team has to get right this offseason? Find a quarterback. Right? Joe Douglas's guy, Zach Wilson, has not worked out up until this point. Woody Johnson has essentially green-lighted anything and everything to acquire one of these quarterbacks, whether it's money, whether it's draft picks. He's fine trading away at pretty much anything. We've heard that from him in multiple interviews here, whether that was his press conference, whether that was his interview with Diana Rossini. He's going to do what it takes to go land his guy. So overall, the Jets are a win now team. My light just died. They have a bunch of young star players on cheap rookie deals. That's a luxury in and of itself. They have an owner willing to spend, and it's an organization with a bunch of pressure on them. The last thing I want to happen is the Jets to be waiting around for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision, miss out on multiple other options here, and we're going to talk about one more in just a second, and again, be left at the altar, waiting for Rodgers. Maybe he wants to stick with Green Bay. Maybe he wants to get traded, but to Tennessee or to Vegas, and he actually never really liked the Jets in the first place. That's what I don't want to happen. Don't mess this up. The Jets have too many good things going for them. I don't want to be handcuffing ourselves to one player. Now, look, if we land Aaron Rodgers, fantastic. I believe the Jets would be going back to the playoffs, finally breaking that playoff drought. There are hurdles that I feel personally uncomfortable with. How long is he going to be playing for? What's the trade compensation going to be looking like? All of these different things have got to be ironed out. If you are the Jets, because I just don't think it's that, personally, I don't think it's smart to trade away a haul for 1 year of Aaron Rodgers. That's just me though. If it involves the 13th overall pick and we don't have a commitment for multiple years here, I just think it's a little too high of a price to pay. I want Rodgers to be all in. So the bottom line is this: it's March 1st and we don't know what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He hasn't crossed anything off his list. He hasn't met with the Green Bay Packers. I don't think it's going to be as simple as sending a quick text or making a quick call. Hey, I'm all in. I'm out. Trade me. I think it's going to be a long, in-depth meeting between Rodgers and the Packers here, and time's ticking. So with the New York Jets, if they want to stay committed to Aaron Rodgers here, you better have that plan B locked in, a good plan B. Now, speaking of other quarterback options aside from Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill was actually brought up yesterday in the NFL Combine to new Titans general manager Ran Carthon, and he basically just came out with a black and white response. He said that you guys just have to understand, or you guys just have to accept the fact that Ryan is under contract for us. Right now, he's a Titan, and he will be a Titan. Now, the speculation on this, what people are kind of insinuating here, is from the Titans' perspective. Do they think that they can get a 100% guaranteed upgrade over Ryan Tannehill this offseason? That's also realistic. Of course, maybe, a potential Aaron Rodgers trade. That's one thing. But aside from that, is the team going to release Derek Carr, take on this, or release Ryan Tannehill, take on this pretty significant dead cap hit, and then go sign a Jimmy G on a multi-year deal? You can make an argument it might be somewhat of a lateral move in the Titans' eyes. And then if you flip it and want to look at it from Tannehill's perspective, he might be looking at all the other teams out there saying, I'm already here in Tennessee. I have literally one of the best running backs in all of football. We have Vrabel running the defense. I have continuity. I know everybody here. The chemistry's there. I don't want to really mess that up, right? I want to remain with the Titans as my number one choice. So we'll see how it plays out with Ryan Tannehill. We'll see how it plays out with Aaron Rodgers. I think for me, though, I'm just going all in for Derek Carr. This is kind of the mindset I've had for the last week and a half. I would love Rodgers, but I just feel like, again, with him, we're talking about multiple hurdles that the Jets have got to clear in order to land him. With Derek Carr, it's about fit. It's about a contract. You don't have to trade away draft picks. He's durable. He's younger. He has a reputation of being a great teammate. He's one of the best Raider players in franchise history. I know he's not elite. I know he's not a top 5 quarterback. But for me, where I'm at right now, when I'm looking at this Jets team, would a top 15 quarterback get this team to the playoffs and make noise? I think the answer is yes. When I look at this Jets squad, they won 7 games last year with a couple of questionable losses, in Minnesota, against New England on the walk-off punt return, with injured players all around, horrible play calling, mistakes, shooting themselves in the foot, poor clock management, and some of the worst quarterback production, arguably the worst quarterback production in all of football. Right, so I think if you figure out the quarterback position and you take a 7-win team from last year, and you put Derek Carr on that squad, I think it's a playoff team, no doubt. And then you could start building from there. You have your money and contract locked in, so you know what the cap is going to look like. Derek Carr can now go out and start recruiting players to the New York Jets. I think that's the route I'm traveling down. Right, of course, it takes 2 to tango. Derek Carr has to want to come to the New York Jets. We've seen it before with Kirk Cousins specifically, where the Jets are heavily involved, the Jets are really interested, and on Kirk Cousins' end, it's just like I'm pretty much using the Jets to drive the Vikings offer up. That's what happened. I don't want it to be a situation here, but I don't think it is. Derek Carr seems super genuine, and again, we'll see how it plays out with all these different options. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Tannehill, Carr, Rodgers, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.